Everybody, greetings from TiE Chandigarh. Seems like a very cozy session we're going to have. Won't take much of your time. Thank you for everybody to be here. We'll invite Harshveer, our TiE Chandigarh Secretary, to introduce Dr. Pritipal Singh, please.
Thank you, Sumit. Many of us have been associated in some way with Dr. Pritipal. For those of you who are new, I would introduce him briefly because his words would say more than anything to all of us. Dr. Pritipal has been a serial entrepreneur, an icon who began his career at Syntex Corporation and rose to become its vice president in 1975, becoming one of the first person of Indian descent to hold such a position in a Fortune 500 company. Dr. Singh also remained an executive vice president of ID Tech Corporation and a vice president of Saiva Corporation, if I have spelled it, pronounced it rightly. After his years in the corporate world, Dr. Singh turned entrepreneur and found Chemtrek Incorporated, amongst other companies. He became the first Indian to take a biomedical company public on Nasdaq Stock Exchange in 1992. Dr. Singh holds a doctorate from the University of Toronto. He did his postdoctorate from University of Southampton. He holds over 40 US patents and about 100 worldwide patents. Dr. Pritipal Singh currently serves on the board of directors of Abaxis Incorporated. I would like to add only two things. TiE is in Chandigarh and we are all here courtesy both these gentlemen who are sitting here. If they hadn't come together and thought of starting TiE and enriching this region, it couldn't have happened any which way. And we all know that how TiE has beginning to nurture the entrepreneurship in this region and how the government now recognizes its efforts. So before I ask Dr. Pritipal to share his words with us, I would like a big round of applause for both of them.
Thank you. You know, it's a great pleasure to be over here amongst friends. And I will say it's a great challenge for me to talk on Prince of Chandra, who I respect him as a teacher. Our association goes back many, many years. I won't go to the detail, but he said few words of great wisdom which carried a lot of value at that time. They carry the same value today. I have been visiting this place off and on, and I am here on a family visit. And as usual, TiE never forgets to rope me in for one or another reason, and I can't say no. I have been involved in TiE from the birth of TiE. I'm essentially the founding member of TiE. And I have been involved in the stopover for quite a few years, as you know. So when Puneet asked me the subject, I said, what do you mean by subject? We talked about, I can talk about what I did in my life. I already talked this in last time. I have not come prepared with any slides or anything else, and so we both came to the conclusion the best way here will be an interactive session, where I may say a few words. An interactive session really essentially will be the companies. First of all, I might tell you that I'm involved mostly in the medical-oriented companies, even though you cannot but rub your shoulders to great length with the so-called high-tech people or IT people. That's what the Silicon Valley is. But Silicon Valley, extended up to San Francisco and Bay Area, is also the home of biotechnology. The world's largest biotech company, Genentech, was born when I was vice president of Syntex. And to the true wisdom of everybody, we basically said this won't fly. And of the various examples you have in life, that's a part of your association. And as sort of, when you're trying to have a plan to do something, it is very important for you to be visionary, what is going to happen, what is not. So I'm just going to blend the two things together. I'll come back to this, but I certainly say the starting of a company is just like raising a baby. or you're having eggs and having chickens and you want to raise it, and what do you really do? You have to be extremely careful. You have to be extremely protective. You will have to spend more time than what you think, and same is true in companies. The general saying is you'll probably spend at least twice the amount of time and 4 times the amount of money than you think. You will do it if you are successful. And that is if and big if. And Chandra, please tell me if I'm wrong. I am yet to meet a person who has been able to run a company with lesser money or the same amount of money than is written in the business plan. Generally, it's much, much more. Now, having said this thing, it is absolutely very important that you choose the project very carefully, because nobody even thinks about this thing in general, but the most important asset as an entrepreneur that we all have in the company is our time. That is not replaceable, that is not payable, and so don't start anything just because in the morning I thought, let us get together and do something. I mean, so I will say that is the most important asset one has to look into, and one has to think it carefully. Sometimes it is better to sit down in your room, close the door, and maybe spend a few days. You will come up with a lot of answers yourself. And that is well spent time before you go any further. Now, I essentially became entrepreneur by necessity, I guess. And now I call it every first generation immigrant. When I went to US, I don't think there were many Indians or hardly any Indians. I got my doctorate in Toronto, joined them in '63. There were only about 10 Indian people, mostly Punjabis, of course, and 2 or 3 from outside. And today you walk into Toronto, there are about 250, 270,000 people. And all happened in my lifetime. People used to ask me the questions at that time, oh, you're from India, you know, there's snakes over there, or you live over the image. Today's image is you want to start a company, you need to have somebody on the board as an Indian or Indian association. Actually, when I started my company in '88, '87, Chemtrack, amongst other things, even at that time, I think being an Indian was not an asset. It was, nobody will give you money, nothing to start. No, we did a shoestring, and my co-founder was Chinese, so we great well both were there, but I think we thought about a lot, both of them had good credibility in science. I raised a lot of money from the corporate world, and I had the FDA approved product, if you know what FDA approval really means. Before Sequoia and any other funding company jumped into that. At that time they had the notes in their hand, you need the money. And Chandra, I did a mistake at that time. I refused. The guy said, you will need the money. I said, no. But anyway, to make a long story short, we raised money. And I said, I don't need $5 million. I already have FDA approved product. And at that time, the head of Sequoia, who still is presumed to be head of the whole VC industry, Don Valentine, he called me in his office. He said, Pratapal, do what you want to do. It's your company. But otherwise, you take it. I said, Don, I don't need it. You know, I have this. He says, listen to me, take it. And anyway, I did, and there were, VCs never come alone. They all come together. A group of people, one VC, another VC, and third VC, and other people want to put it in. But make a long story short, is that I ended up using every penny that I raised and more, despite the fact we had the FDA approved product, because I sort of missed it that making a product is one thing and marketing is another thing. And I think that is a lesson which I learned in a very hard way, and that's a lesson I want to pass to you on, that don't underestimate your customers. You might have the best gadget in the world, whether it is the IT based or non-IT based, or just now I learned the solar based or the bio based. You don't have it if your customers don't want it. I mean, I can't. Second I learned was that you could be ahead of the time. Timing is everything. And that is one thing you cannot choose. They always say that you have to be lucky in doing few things. So I ended up in believing luck also. That if I'm lucky, it will happen, that's a timing issue. You can design a product ahead of time, you'll fail. You can design a product after the time, you'll fail. It has to be timing. Timing, 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 just like real estate, location, location, location. So, so one is the idea, concept, evaluation of the customers to start with, timing when you start it, and a few things really you can manage and control, and a few just you can't. I'm sure I'm leaving the gaps in these a lot in between for the question to be asked, and really of the whole thing, if I say in the biotech industry, really the most important really here is the FDA. And I remember once I was asking a silly question from no less than the president of Intel. Okay, we were together just about like this, and he talked about, and just so it was a sort of interaction kind of thing. And I said, Larry, I forgot his name. The guy has no schizophrenia himself. He was a president before the current one. I said, you're talking about this, your life is this, I'm talking about the product is this, and chip is changing so much, it's doubling every day. You guys are lucky that you don't have FDA to go to. And I said, if you had to go to the FDA, you will not have Microsoft today. And I really mean it, you will not have Microsoft. And the reason for that is that if you have some product approved, medical product approved in FDA, and if it doesn't perform and fails more than once or twice, you don't have too many chances in your life. Not only have a liability, the doors are shut. Classic example, you will not see aspirin as a product today if it had to go through the FDA. So there are pluses and minuses. We all know the home blood glucose test, which was a company which is not called LifeScan, started and founded by a very close friend of mine. And at that time, I didn't refuse to go with him. He was a marketing director in Syntax. And Gary Stroy, he essentially came up with the idea of why somebody need to have the own glucose test. Not FDA approved, but his product was a big appeal to the users. And it became such a big push that FDA had no chance but to grandfather that. So if you think glucose testing was approved by FDA, blood glucose test, which we all do by the meter, no, it was not. It was grandfathered because people were using it left and right, and they didn't give a damn about FDA, and they have it. And the first product ever to be approved by FDA based on whole blood was the Chemtrack cholesterol test. And I had few questions asked which I still don't understand why they asked it. And one of the classic tests the FDA asked me was, prove me that the blood which comes from your hand, finger prick, is the same which flows in your veins. Because most of the tests are done on the veins. I mean, you draw blood from there, so it's a fair question. Second question was, and obviously we did a lot of studies on this thing, and I call that the wastage of money, and we probably ended up spending about $1 million on this thing alone. But the whole thing, you had to do it by setting up mini clinical trials, okay? It's not easy to do. You have to do patient, this, that kind of business. Second question came and was, if this is going to work, you did most of the work in California, and America is a vast country, and the world is even bigger than that, so they don't miss it. Any product which is in the US is going to be outside also. Show me that it is going to be equally usable not only in California but in Alaska, which is a very cold place, as well as in Texas, which is a very hot place, and in Southern California where they eat fried chickens every day. Now, to me, it's a trivial thing. I never thought about these things. I'm telling you this thing because when you start a company, think about it in these lines, whether in whatever area. I'm sure Chandra probably will figure out millions of those. I'm sure when he's thought about the trains, and he must have thought about a number of things, and still some were left. we again had to spend a few $1 million. And the only way was to conduct clinical trials over there. So we had to not only feed people hamburgers, all over the place we had to do it. To make a long story short, I think the thorough thinking of the project is very important. And if you have thinking, if you have resources, and if you have right timing, and more than that, right luck, you're on your way. And I think I'll stop with this thing and probably lead into more interaction. And if anybody has a question, maybe we can discuss all together. By no means I have great wisdom, but I have my own ways of looking into things. I'm sure we all have it. Everybody's right, nobody's wrong. And I remember that IT business, for example, I gave Biotech the same to my IT business because all these guys used to visit us, the Infosys guy and Wipro guy. And 1994, I remember we were all together in my home and they were just saying, we don't know what to do, what it is, what it's not. Now, the real thing was their luck, which we call Y2, which was year 2000.
Y2K.
Y2K. If Y2K had not happened, I don't think would have been
IT industry.
here. And an absolute foolishness of probably Americans that we don't want to, it is beyond our dignity to do this work. All idea was to rewrite the program and be sure that sky doesn't fall apart on January 1st, 2000.
A lot of gunky work.
Lot of grunge work, but the grunge work was that nobody was doing there, so these guys did it. And during that one, they not only made money, they also learned. So I think that is, I would call the right timing and right luck. So let us go to the next step now. We talk about the two sides of the world, US and this place. And I'm sure you people have a lot to share with me also because I need to carry some the lessons. Even at this age of mine, I don't sit idle. I do play golf, I'm board of companies, but board of the company really is learning. You just have to transfer the information, so I'm sure anything I learn will be valuable to me. Thank you.
Sir, I'll take the first question.
Please.
For, I think, all entrepreneurs, especially aspiring and budding entrepreneurs, and this question was very dear to me always, how difficult and how important is the first customer?
The first customer, I will use the word different. The satisfaction of the first customer is absolutely important. If it is of significant size customer, you can have customers and customers. But it's not the customer, you have to have a satisfied customer. If you don't have a significant customer satisfied, the customer carries a weight in the market, you are in a big mess, at least in our part of the world. Now what was the other question?
How difficult is to get the first customer?
For a new company, it depends upon if you are in a totally new product, totally new area. Customers will look for you. Okay? For example, when I said we raise money in Chemtrack, I was not a genius to raise money. I mean, people said you look like Indian, you behave like Indian, you talk like Indian. I say, yeah, I score like Indian, fine, so what, I won't change it. But the home cholesterol test at that time was perceived to be the biggest thing, which didn't end up becoming that way, to the extent that the White House announced its approval. The White House doesn't announce the approval of any medical products. Donna Shalala, who was the head of the healthcare, Clintons, she announced. And the reason was, if you go back in 80s, late 80s, the biggest problem that the medical area was facing was obesity, heart attack, heart problems. So the US scientific community or professors and the government had taken upon them, just like the energy today, we got to tackle this in the next X number of years. Okay? We were the only one to have the home cholesterol test, and my speech was very simple, that if you can do something sitting in your home, you know the result in 10 minutes, you should be able to manage your food accordingly. So it's basically the management lifestyle. Consequently, before we had, the first tranche of money came in, now I can give the names, since we across the, Ms. Lawyer, how many years we have to wait for these things?
For FDA?
No, for the non-disclosure agreements.
India. I don't depend on
Well,
what.
that depends on a lot of things.
I'm tied up for my whole life.
Very
But
good.
anyway, not naming the company.
Depends on.
Okay.
Depends on your. Agreement.
I know, but I don't remember, I'm not in the
Number of
company.
years.
It's one of the largest companies in the world. They came to me and I charged $500,000 for talking to me. Now, I was not that dumb. People was amazed how do I perform it. I said for the luxury, they wanted me to talk to them, which you call as a loan. A loan doesn't mean one. They call standstill. You're not going to talk to anybody else for the next 15 days. I said it's going to cost you money. It's going to cost you $500,000. They were my customers.
And they
Then, when they agree, there's no chance.
Agree, yeah.
Okay, if my point really here was, if I don't talk to anybody else for 15 days, I need resources. I'm going to be wrung dry. And obviously, I had by that time already sold my house on the mortgage. And I had no money left. And, you know, really you have to do what you think is the best. Not that I was the smartest person. I said, this is what it's going to cost me.